What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my live stream channel. It's Rob Torres, comedy in the house. Welcome to my live stream channel, Live with Rob Torres. I have a very special episode for you today. I'm a big college basketball fan, and I love this time of year. This time of year is when we have the NCAA tournament, so that's what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna break down the NCAA tournament bracket, and I'm gonna break down my picks, and we're gonna do it live here on my channel. So we're gonna have a good time, so I'm excited. And so this is the first time in many years that St. John's is any good. Like, that's my favorite team. Like, St. John's basketball traditionally is New York City basketball. So St. John's is back. Rick Pitino got them playing well. They dominated the Big East. They like smacked everybody. And I was like, I mean, I'm a big fan, but I'm also like realistic, you know. But I found out how legit that they are, you know, during the Big East tournament. Like, they beat UConn and Marquette 3 times. And that's not easy. Okay, when you can smack a team 3 times, Papa, get out of here. Like, you know, they're a juggernaut. That defense is legitimate. So Rick Pitino got them playing well, and big shout out to Rick Pitino. And so, speaking of the Big East, by the way, I'm a big Big East fan, and I feel like the Big East is very underrated, you know? I feel like the Big East have produced numerous tournament champions like throughout the years. So, you know, the Big East always go in the tournament and make upsets. And, you know, I don't even like to use that word upsets, because the Big East is a power conference. And if it wasn't for the ACC and the Big Ten trying to steal Big East teams for many years, you know. And the Big East now is a Catholic school league, and they still doing it. Nova got 2 chips, UConn got 2 chips, and hopefully St. John's could get 1 or a few, or have, like, anyway, you know, within the next few years. Let's be easy with those predictions. So I'm gonna do my tournament picks right here. Cool. It's gonna be fun. So we got 4 brackets: the South, the West, the East, and the Midwest. So the number 1 seeds is Auburn is the number 1 seed in the South. Michigan State is the 2 seed in the South. In the West, the number 1 seed is Florida, who's a good team. They won the SEC conference. The SEC has 14 teams in the league this year. Oh my God! And they only have 16 teams. Like, it might as well be the SEC tournament. the national SEC tournament. Like, everybody else, y'all play with us. Like, and yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I feel like some of that stuff is exaggerated. Like, some of those teams are gonna get sent home, but Florida and St. John's is the 2 seed in the West. In the East, Duke is the 1 seed, and Alabama is the 2 seed. And then we have Houston is the 1 seed in the Midwest, and then you have like Tennessee, which is a 2 seed in the Midwest. So it's, you know, the SEC has their own bracket. This is the SEC Midwest. Oh man! All right, I have to change the light, y'all. Hold on a second. Doing these types of things Sure. Sorry about that. No camera. Anyway. So we have the SEC Midwest. Okay. SEC Midwest. The SEC, 14 teams, yo. Crazy. All right. The Big East got 5 though. Look out for that. So, all right. So I'm ready to start my bracket. Yo, we're gonna have a good time. All right. All right. So we're gonna move the camera up a little bit so that, you know. Cool. Zoomed in a little bit. So we're gonna start this bracket. You guys don't really need to see me. Doesn't matter. You guys don't need to see me. So, all right. So we starting in the South, and I got Auburn moving on. They're gonna face the winner of Louisville Creighton. Louisville Creighton is playing in Kentucky. So Louisville got like a home game. Wow, that's crazy. But I got Creighton moving on, Creighton out the Big East. They got that center All-American. He's going to the NBA. The next game, they got Michigan. Auburn, Creighton, and they got Michigan moving on. Then Texas A&M versus we got Texas A&M moving on. And then we got Ole Miss playing the winner of San Diego, Carolina. You believe that's Carolina made the tournament? Talk about hooked up. Talk about Laker trade. Talk DEI. Talk about somebody hooked these guys up, yo, with a 1-12 quad 1 record. It's more like 12 quad 1 losses. How the hell they got in there? Oh man. But so now it's gonna be Ole Miss versus Carolina. So I got Ole Miss, man. Carolina, that dream's gonna end. And then we got Iowa State is gonna move on. Then we got the Marquette revenge. We got the Marquette versus New Mexico game, 7-10 game, which is very interesting. You know, this is the Marquette revenge game against the Patino family. Marquette is 0-3 against St. John's. And New Mexico's head coach is Rick Pitino's son. So, you know, this is very intriguing, you know. So Marquette could get a win, and this will be the Marquette revenge game, and, you know, where Cam Jones get 30 points. Or it could be a New Mexico victory, and Marquette could be 0-4 against the Patino family. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. But you know what? But I'm all Big East, so Marquette is gonna, Cam Jones is gonna have 80. Yo, watch. He's going to the NBA too. Then we got Michigan State. Tom Izzo is in the tournament again, and he's going to the Sweet 16 again. Tom Izzo, he's legendary. You know? I don't know how he does it, man. So who we got else moving on? We got Auburn beating Creighton, and then we got Michigan is going to be Texas A&M, and then Ole Miss versus Iowa State, and Iowa State is going to be Ole Miss. So, and then there's going to be Auburn versus Michigan, and I have Auburn moving on, and Iowa State is going to play Michigan State, and Michigan State is going to make the Final 8. But the SEC is too strong, so I got Auburn in the Final 4 coming out the South. And they're going to be playing in Atlanta. That's going to be like a home game in the Sweet 16. Oh, the SEC tournament. The SEC tournament. That's crazy. That's crazy. The SEC tournament. That's crazy, yo. And they put all that money into that league. I mean, shit. This is like college football. Anyway, now we move on to the West. We got Florida moving on in the blowout. Florida's really good. All right, then we got the 8-9 game, UConn versus Oklahoma. The defending champion is gonna move on. And we got Memphis. And then Maryland. And then we got Maryland moving on. So Florida's gonna be UConn. Florida's too strong. Then we got Maryland, who has the famous five, not the Fab Five, but the famous five. Them guys are famous and always on the news. And so Florida and Maryland's gonna make the Sweet 16, and in the lower bracket, we have Missouri versus Drake, and in upset alert, we're gonna have Drake moving on. You know, like my favorite rapper. Hey Drake, give me a break. I go 0 to 100 real quick right here. So Drake is gonna move on and upset Missouri. Texas Tech is strong. Texas Tech is gonna move on, and then we have the 7-10 game, which is very interesting. We have Kansas, Bill Self versus Arkansas versus Calipari. Yo, Bill Self versus Calipari. Whoa, that's crazy. In an intriguing game, I got Kansas moving on. And then we got St. John's in a crazy swarm of defense moving on in that first game. And then in these next games, we have Texas Tech going to the Sweet 16, and then St. John's will send Kansas home. So in the Sweet 16, in an interesting game, like Florida will make the Elite Eight, and then Texas Tech is gonna give St. John's all this can handle, but that energy versus St. John energy, that's gonna balance each other out. But St. John's with R.J. Lewis, he's going to the NBA too, you know, and he's a junior. No, well, supposedly, you know, but he's lottery ready. Big East Player of the Year, Okafor, big man. I think they're just too strong. They're moving on. And then in a very intriguing game, and I'm like, you know, so I was scared of Florida. It's like, you know, they won SEC champions, but this is St. John's year. So St. John's is gonna make their first Final Four since 1985. Whoa. Let's go St. John's, yo, because that defense is legitimate and people are gonna see it in that tournament. They have multiple come from behind victories where they were down more than 10 points. More than 10 points, multiple come from behind victories. Yo, that defense is legitimate, yo. Okay. If I was really gassed, I would put St. John's in the championship game. But you know, I'm trying to be a little realistic. But I feel like, you know, like my boy Jay Wright, Villanova head coach, St. John's in the Final Four. All right, now we're moving on to the East. We got Duke moving on. We got this 8-9 game, Mississippi State moving on. We got Oregon. And then we got Arizona moving on there. So in this lower bracket, BYU versus VCU. The abbreviation game. Anyway, BYU is gonna move on with a better name. And then we're gonna have Wisconsin. I keep thinking about Stripes, the movie Stripes, when I think about Wisconsin. I won't go to Wisconsin. I got my butt beat in Wisconsin. And then we got St. Mary's in a 7-10 game versus Vanderbilt. And St. Mary's is gonna move on. And then you have Alabama. in the SEC, number 2, Alabama. So what happens in the second round? So Duke is going to move on. Arizona is going to move on. Wisconsin is going to move on. And it's a very intriguing game. You know, St. Mary's comes from the West Coast Conference, and they play tough every year, you know. So very inclined to you know what, we're just gonna do upset alert, man. You know, St. Mary's, you know, freaking. This is YouTube, yo. This is for ratings, so let's go with it. So we're gonna have Duke move on. So Duke is gonna be Arizona, and then Wisconsin is gonna make the Final 8, and Duke is gonna make their 1,000 Final Four. The most Final Fours in general. They have multiple. We're gonna have multiple Final Fours. So Duke is gonna make another one. Coach K, who's like the best coach ever, with the best college basketball coach ever. Coach K is make the Final Four in the East. And now we go to our last region, the Midwest, the SEC Midwest. And then we have Houston moving on. And then we got the 8-9 game, Gonzaga versus Georgia, the double G game. And I like Gonzaga, man. Gonzaga, the Midwest Conference is tough. Gonzaga got some upsets under their belt. They're a dangerous team. And who we got? And then we got Clemson. And then we got, that's Purdue. And then this next one, I don't like any of those teams right there. Oh yeah, right here. Oh, Xavier. Another one of those teams, first 4 in, first 4 out. Unlike North Carolina, they're deserving to be in the tournament. So I feel like Xavier is going to win that first game, and they play tonight. They're going to win again and go to the second round. Xavier, let's go Big East. And then we got Kentucky moving on. And then we got in the 7-10 game, UCLA versus Utah State, UCLA. And then Tennessee is going to move on. And then so the teams so Houston is going to beat Gonzaga to get in the Sweet 16. Clemson is going to make the Sweet 16. Xavier is going to make the Sweet 16. Ooh, upset alert. Oh, that's too many upsets. But and then we have Tennessee going to the Sweet 16. So Houston's going to make the Final 8. Tennessee. This is the SEC Midwest. And Houston, this is like all home games. And Houston is going to make the Final 4. So there we have it. This is my Final 4, my 2025 NCAA bracket. This is my Final 4. Auburn, St. John's, Duke, and Houston. And Auburn is going to advance and beat St. John's. And Houston is going to beat Duke. And our national champion is Houston with that crazy defense. And that's an easy path to the final. That's all home games. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's my 2025 NCAA bracket. I'm your host, Rob Torres, and this episode has been live with Rob Torres. That's it for now. Stay tuned. Follow me for more. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night.